Welcome to another episode on A Court of Wings and Ruin here at your favorite romance podcast, We Read It One Night. In this episode, everyone pretends that Feyre being High Lady actually means something, fairy twinks attack, and the walls come a-crumbling down. Head on back to part 1 if you haven't listened to that yet, and check out the rest of our ACOTAR universe episodes, all linked in the description. If we made you chuckle even once, you are legally obligated to leave us a rating and review wherever you're listening. If we do it twice, you have to check out our Etsy shop and Patreon page linked in the description. Enjoy the show. So recording this brings up the continuation of an important discussion that we were having right before this, which is how is time communicated? Usually, specifically on the television, in Mountain Time and the Pacific Coast. So, listener, we grew up on the East Coast, and like when we were, I'm going to say this in the context of Disney Channel because that's the only time I've ever really heard this.
Heard it.
They'd be like, High School Musical is premiering at 8/7 Central, so like 8 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. Central Time. How was this communicated? If you live on the Mountain Time or the Pacific Coast, how was
switch?
Yeah, like does it switch to what would it be? 6/5 Pacific?
Yeah, probably. Or like that makes sense.
Or does it premiere at a different time? Because I know that, okay, so for example, the Oscars, it's like way better to watch them if you're on the West Coast because they end at like 8 because of the time, because like it starts at like 6 or 5 or whatever, like on the West Coast.
Why is that way better?
Because sometimes you have to like stay up until like midnight. And they're on a Sunday. I'm just saying, like, whatever.
Anyway.
No, I don't. I'm just saying if you want to watch the whole thing.
I'm sure they would switch it. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they switched it to like, if instead it was like 5/6 Mountain instead of 6/5 Pacific, because like Pacific is the quote unquote main one, kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it would be weird to do the quote unquote, like, it's not the later time. I don't know.
Would it be weird? I don't think it's weird. It makes more sense to go like forward in time anyway. Like I think it's weird that they like bend over backwards to have it be like central to specifying one. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's
weird.
Because more people are.
Yeah, but does that really? I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense either way. Like,
well, it also half the time they're broadcasting from Eastern time.
What do you mean they're broadcasting from Eastern time?
Like from like New York, or you know what I mean? Like New York and LA.
Well, right. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they do the Pacific time first. Write in, listener.
Yeah. How was it for you?
What if we start announcing our episodes like that? What if we got the old Disney commercial guy to be like 8/7 Central, Disney Channel.
Rachel, and you're watching Disney Channel.
You're watching Disney Channel. Another thing you can watch is, I feel like I didn't properly communicate, Rachel, this to you when I told you about it. So my mom and I were finding like cozy mysteries to watch.
Cozy mysteries.
They're like Hallmark Christmas movies, but mysteries.
Okay.
And it's a whole book genre too. But so we came across these ones called the Crossword Mysteries, starring Lacey Chabert.
Absolutely.
And yes. And the first one is called, it's a series of movies following like the same characters. Like, so Lacey Chabert and like her cop boyfriend who she meets in the first movie is like in all of them. The first one is called A Puzzle to Die For, which is incredible.
Listen, I love it.
We haven't been able to watch the other ones because only the first one was available for free on like Amazon Prime, and then the rest of them required like a Hallmark like additional subscription, which has been really upsetting. But it's it's 5 whole movies. The last one's called Riddle Me Dead, of course.
Listen, and it's on the one hand, it's nice that Lacey is like cross seasonal now, but I would have hoped that like just her Hallmark movie work was like enough to float her through the rest of the year. You know what I mean? Like she just had to film like.
Well, these are Hallmark movies.
Yeah. I meant her Christmas stint. You know what I mean? Like she's basically a seasonal worker, filming in the summer, and then like.
I think. Listen, she still probably is seasonal. These movies probably take like 2 weeks to film.
That's true. I guess I did know that genre existed because I remember we found all those like cat mysteries in Barnes.
Yeah. They all have fun names.
Yeah, like I don't even know, like, but yeah, a perfect crime or like
Up.
a perfect crime. What makes them cozy? They're just like
It's just the vibes of them. Like they're just
they're cozy. You're
cozy.
right. All the cat ones had like coffee, like steaming cups of tea and like croissants on the front. But they never have audiobooks, which is really sad.
No, well, because a lot of them are like mass market paperbacks.
You shouldn't let them stop them from the audiobook. Whenever I get into the audiobook narrator genre. See, and I really think, like, I feel like, so last night I went to trivia, but honestly, the host, he was just basically just talking off topic, like, way too much in general, but like, he started off telling everyone how he got a new headset, but like, honestly, he was
Mhm.
unintelligible, like, most of the time. It was really hard to understand what he was saying, which makes
Mhm.
me think that I should not be recluded from the trivia host career because apparently slurring your words is not
Why
a
not?
disqualifier. Yeah.
Why not?
You don't actually have to speak that clearly
I
or
really feel like
loudly.
there's probably not a very high barrier to entry to
That
be a
is
trivia.
probably true.
You
Yeah,
just gotta
honestly.
come up with a trivia and like go to a bar and be like, "Hey, can I host this?"
Well, or
Like,
like work for a company. Like there's companies that like do them, you know.
oh, sure.
No, I think it would be a lot of work to come up with like good questions that are like
Oh,
bulletproof, you know,
absolutely.
for sure. And like, yeah, it's definitely, but I just mean like clarity of speaking wise, because I feel like I'm not super high on the charts on that. But apparently that's not a requirement. So
No, no. I've also never had someone use a headset, just in any context in which they used a headset to amplify their voice, that it actually sounded
improves
good.
anything.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
It's always
yeah.
worse.
Well, it wasn't even I don't even blame the headset, honestly. Like maybe if he had been louder, it would have been slightly better. But like I get it because like if I've been accused of mumbling, I too. That being said, it's bold. It's bold, sir.
Sir, sir, this is a serious competition. The trivia.
Well, it wasn't that serious. We weren't like doing that well.
Uh-huh. But were you not doing that well because of him or because you didn't know the
Listen,
answer, you
who's
know?
to say?
Like,
Who's to
were you
say?
were you sabotaged?
I really can't be that serious about it because it's like, yeah, there's really no the rules aren't that serious, and it's like, okay,
No. You need to find one like you found in Nashville that
I
has like
know.
old people regulars.
No, I know. Actually, that's who won last night was a group of like three old people, like older people. But I was like, we need to like, they're not going to want to right now because we haven't like proven ourselves yet. But like, if we can do a little bit better and convince them to join forces, that is really the goal. And nobody thinks what I think. I don't think anyone else fully understands because I guess this is like a unique conflagration of events that I've experienced where like, yeah, it's just like it's such a high to just win every week. You have the distribution across the population.
All right, shall we begin?
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes later
It's fine.
with Court of Wings and Ruin by
Woohoo,
Sarah
part
J.
two.
Maas. Part two. Farah
Mm-hmm.
and is
Elaine.
it Asriel?
Where?
Someone they come back from the prison and they're like, we have to get the
Mm.
boat cover. And then they see
Mm-hmm.
Elaine, and Elaine is just sad. And Farah in her head is like, just the way she describes it, she's like, listen, Elaine may be sad, but at least she's still hot. It's just,
I know. Which, like, honestly, that probably is all Elena's going for at this point. And Elaine is being super weird and, like, you know, starting to manifest her, like, creepy seer power. Like, not creepy, but, like, unknown. Like, they never really bothered to figure it out. We're quite.
yeah, they don't put it to their advantage. They literally find out that she can tell the future. And at least in the parts that we have read thus far, they have yet to like
They
really put
don't.
it.
Yeah. And Lucian's there. And he's like fucking like she says something, she's like, I can hear your heart, like
Can
it
you
sounds
hear
like
mine?
a rock, and he's like, I can't hear yours, and she's like, no one ever does, but like he did, like her fucking like human man. She's still not over that. She's still not over that. Anyway.
Like as it like it's in like close enough to know her. And
I don't know if
I'm
that's what
like,
that
Elaine,
means.
like even if you do have hidden depths, I still dislike you. And that
Right.
whole interaction, like Feyre and Nesta are hiding in the corner, and like Feyre is like looking into Lucian's mind, which
Mm-hmm.
she like feels bad about. But I was like, this is like the
Feels
fifth time
really
that you've
bad
done
about.
this. Like,
I
what do you
know.
mean?
Reese makes Nessa throw up by like quote unquote flying fast, which is rude.
And then everyone is shocked about why like Nesta doesn't like him. They're like, why don't you like he does shit like this
Right. Like she's yeah, yes.
within like a month of her like having an allegory for like sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
He's like doing this shit.
Which it took me way too long to realize that that's what, I mean, it took you saying it like 3 times for me to realize that that's what that was. I was like, I don't understand why they're making such a big deal about this. They're immortal. Like, get over it. Like, oh, poor you. I'm on board with Hyper, and like, poor you. You have to be pretty. Like, and like,
and you get cool
reminds
powers.
Me, okay, I have a question. Unless you've already seen these TikToks. You know those bumper stickers that say like honk if you like pizza?
I have seen these that
okay.
I have just discovered as well. That does not
so
that's not just to share pizza
I
lovers.
really want to ask Stefan. Wait, don't ask him. No, because I called
Wait,
Mom.
did you know?
No. And I called Mom and he was like, it means if you like pizza, you honk. What else could it be? Like, are you stupid?
Yeah, okay, so listener, if you like us are confused, apparently those like honk if you like pizza or like honk if whatever. There's not just the driver attempting to like find his fellow pizza lovers.
It's like sarcastic.
Yeah.
It's like if
like
you're
it's if like
honking,
they're
it's not because I'm a bad driver, it's because you like pizza. Like, haha.
like
And I feel
what?
like I got it. Like, I feel like there's like those ones that are really like hit you over the head that are like honk if you're an asshole or something, or like, you know what I mean? Like honk if you have a small dick.
Those honk
Those
if you're
are
an asshole, I
obvious.
knew was like
Right. Like that makes sense because it's like you're saying you're an asshole. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Which I guess it's kind of the same thing as the pizza thing, so maybe I didn't really get it. Anyway, I really want to ask Stefan. I'm curious. So silly. Anyway,
what does that have to do with Nesta?
Oh, just the like weird allegory thing. It just reminded me of like.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Nesta and Elaine are moving to the townhouse because they're like, you're not allowed to like sulk up here in the House of Wind. And Nesta lands and like Lucian makes eye contact with her. I don't know. She like does something spicy per usual. She does something spicy. And Lucian's like, what are you? And she's like, I made the cauldron. Give something back. Like, boom. And then Reese is like, only Nesta would not only conquer death, but pillage it. And I was like, this is the one good thing you say about her, Reese boy. You're still on thin ice with me.
They're like, and then we get the like her power is death, like whatever that means.
It's time to go. They all go to the Court of Nightmares, and they're just being dramatic as per usual, and not at all considering that it is possible that an entire group of people are not just all evil, as they assume the Court of Nightmares is. But everyone sees like there is High Lady, and like she's like their power, like people were like reaching out their powers toward me to like suss me out. And she catches their powers, quote, like a cat with a bird under its paw. So Farrah's leveling up. She wasn't a cat before, I feel like.
Yeah. No, she's like really coming into her own. Like they're there basically to ask whatever the fuck that Moore's dad, like Moore's really mad about this, right? And they're there to ask Moore's dad like if he will like deign to help them in the fight. And like, I'm sorry, like what is the point of like, it's just really silly that they like can choose whether to help or not, because like what is the point of like having them be technically still part of the Night Court?
Well, he gets to control them and like other, I don't know. Yeah.
It just seems like that it should be like the non-negotiable. Like, I'm sorry, if you're their subjects, like you don't really get to choose. And I was wondering why they would ever agree to help, but I guess like they also are at risk if like they get taken over or whatever.
Right. Well, also, I'm wondering whether that agreement is going out the window, because the whole reason that agreement, the Court of Nightmares was giving autonomy, was because Valaris was created. And they were like, you stay here, we're going to go over here. But like this negotiation ends with the Court of Nightmares being allowed to go into the Valaris.
Except Reese is like, don't worry, guys. Like I told all the shopkeepers and the innkeepers and like everyone and restaurants not to like serve them. But like, does that just not make you think like that just seems like a recipe for like your people getting like killed by the fucking people? Like if they get mad, right? Like that does not seem like you're telling them to be the ones to stand up to.
It's just silly.
You're not even just telling them, like ordering them. So then like they're disobeying you if they don't do it.
Yeah.
But it's like that. It's putting the entire risk on them. Like, I don't understand.
It just seems silly. And we also get it confirmed, because we've discussed this, I feel like every episode, whether the Court of Nightmares knew about Valaris. And in this part, it's revealed that they didn't. And they only found out when Hybern attacked. Like I thought they were aware the whole time and were just aware like they weren't welcome.
Yeah, like they didn't want to come.
But I guess not.
this is the like compromise. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. And you have to just not think about it too much. The whole like weird deal, like just like the whole like weird baddie persona doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know.
I thought you said batty, and I just made me remember that Kier calls Cassian and Azrael overgrown bats. And I really like, listen, say what you want about the Court of Nightmares, but you can't deny they've got style.
Oh, I forgot to say before, when they're getting ready to go to the Court of Nightmares, there's like this scene where Reese helps Farah do her hair, like with her hairpins and stuff, and I thought it was cute. It seems like, it also seems like, what are her two previous servants / friends
Nuala and
Nuala and
Carradine.
Carradine seem to have totally ditched Farah, like unclear who.
They're
like,
best friends with
They're
Elaine.
best friends with Elaine. They're like out here later on baking with Elaine in the kitchen. Like,
yeah,
like no one. So I guess it is. I guess it's really necessity. It's not just like
she no longer has
a
friends / servants.
moment. Yes, Reese is not her
Actually,
servant / friend, which is fine.
No. Her servants / friends are Amryn and Moore. We're talking about like female friendships because she's technically High Lady, so they're technically her servants /
friends.
Servants / friends.
It's so silly.
Except is she High Lady, because they're talking all this shit with Kier, and Eris walks in. Eris, the Autumn Court baddie, who is actually good. So obviously he's like definitely doing the same long game as Reese.
So excited for this, like
for the Eris like redemption. Yeah. But he rolls in, and Reese didn't tell anyone. Like only him and Azrael knew, and Azrael only knows because like Eris caught Azrael spying, and like that's how they did it.
That's how this deal came about. Yeah.
And like, listen, Reese, excellent, frankly, just like from a pure like negotiating standpoint, excellent to not tell anyone about Eris, to like bring him in.
Yeah.
Right, from a drama standpoint. However, why didn't he tell Feyre? Like, is she the High Lady or not?
Yeah, she's not. She's not. There can only be one ultimate leader at the end of the day, and it will be the one who's like 500 years old, not the fucking like 21-year-old human bitch. Like,
sorry. Yeah.
But
so Reese like really pisses Moore off this whole time because of all this. She brings in Eris. He lets Kier into the like burrows, understandably. But I'm waiting for Moore's villain arc. Like, I'm calling it right now. Moore has always been. Moore is not a girl's girl. I don't think. Like, Moore is presented as a girl's girl, but I don't think she is.
Because she's the first girl that like will be friends with Farah that isn't a dick like her sisters.
Oh, which I also I read an article that confirmed that Sarah J. Maas really did intend Nesta and Elaine to like just be the like evil stepsister, like minor characters, and then yes, and then she like retconned them to give them bigger roles. So that's why they suck so much, which is part of the. But I'm saying that's part of the reason why I ignore a lot of like the smaller details of their behavior in the first book, because I'm like that's not actually consistent with like how they're supposed to be as characters. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm like down for a retcon, but then you have to like, or not even like the sisters as they're written in the first book were not irredeemable to me. She just like seems to have instead decided to pretend like they didn't like do half the shit they did, like actually, and like make them at all.
No.
For it.
She just pretends that Elaine didn't do half the shit that she did.
That's true.
Nesta just gets all the blame, and nobody's like, Elaine is also an older sister who also didn't do anything.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm waiting on Moore's villain arc. Like, I really feel like, because there's some stuff in the novella. She has like a weird like secret house, and like there's like something she does in the novella that I guess we'll talk about when we do the novella. But she's just sus. I'm just saying Moore has a lot of secrets. That's and she was raised like and she was raised in an evil environment. So even though she was good, you know what I mean? I'm saying she has the skills. She has the skills to be evil, even if she chooses not to use them. Also, again, what is her power?
Her power is truth.
What does that mean?
Which like somehow manages to sound so much more like ominous than even like Nesta's. Her power is death bullshit. Like,
yeah, because death is like because you don't know what it is. It's so obscure, but it can apparently level battlefields. Like, what, does she just stand up at like the top of a hill with a microphone and is like, your armor is ugly? They just all like fall over. Like, what?
And that is the truth. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, like.
Then they're just so embarrassed they run away. Like,
like she doesn't even. I don't. Whatever. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. I don't know. I'm hoping for more enemies to lovers. Honestly, like I'm a simple girl. I don't need a lot. That would be fine.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I would love for Moore to have a girlfriend because Moore's gay, which is revealed later in this book, but not in the part that we've read yet.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I need more people to be baddies.
No, I just need more enemies to lovers. That's fine. I'll take a repeat of the fucking Farah Reese dynamic, basically. Like that is essentially, same thing.
Sure.
It's fine.
Sure. Okay.
Also, just another thing that we also like. I guess we don't need to talk about this right now. Like rejecting the mating bond, when they're like, I don't know who tells Farrah about that. I think like Reese is like giving her the down low at one point, and he's like, well, you can reject it, but like no matter what, it'll still be there, like however faint. So, like, can you really reject it? Like if it's actually still there, like really unclear.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to like be with them. And he says it's worse
Mm-hmm.
for males. Like sometimes males like go and will just
Mm-hmm.
like go on a killing rampage of
Mm-hmm.
like anyone.
Well, but still, there's gonna be like like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like underneath it all, there's gonna be an actual like connection still. So like I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, you can like reject it insofar as like you're like, we're
you're
not
not living with this person.
in
Yeah.
a relationship.
Right.
Yeah. But so basically Kira's like, yeah, you can have the mirror. Haha. It'll just make you go insane.
Mm.
Good luck, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And the mirror this sets up such high stakes for the mirror, which
Mm-hmm.
we haven't gotten to that part yet, but I really feel like it doesn't
Pay off at all,
pay
which
off.
is fine. Like, yeah, the Aurora Borealis, whatever.
Aurora
But
Burns. It's
it's
not what
not
it
Aurora
is.
Borealis. It's the Aurora Boreas. It basically is Aurora Borealis.
Is it? Is that what
Yeah,
it is? Are you sure?
yeah.
Are you sure? You
It's
only
Aurora
listened
Boreas. The Aurora Boreas mirror. Ouroboros. The Ouroboros.
Ouroboros. See, it's you're still getting the Aurora Borealis.
Wild Boris.
The Aurora Borealis will make you go insane. And you know what? The real Aurora Borealis could also probably do that because they're so beautiful. And they're going to be at their peak in Iceland this year. So
I feel
guys,
like
you
I
should go
hear
to
that every
Iceland in the
year. It's
spring.
giving like
No, it's like the
cicada 13
most
year, 17 year
no, it's like
bullshit.
they're the most active they've been in 11 years. So it's not like a every 100-year thing. And like they're still there every year.
Mm.
But they're going to be like
I
super
feel like last
whatever.
year was the most active they've been in like 7 years or something. I don't know. 13
Well,
years.
that could who
I guess
knows?
that could all be technically true. Every year could be the most active it's been. No, never mind. I
No,
don't know. Anyway,
definitely.
they could just like keep making the time frame like shorter or whatever.
Yeah.
Next year it's 9 years, and then like finally we cycle back through. Sorry, but other stuff about Eris redemption arc, like they're really heavy handed on this, setting it up, and
Oh
like
my God. Yeah.
and because he's like, well, you don't know, like there's other things in play. Like he basically says he tried to save Lucian when like his dad and brothers were gonna kill him.
Yeah.
He's like, you didn't know what was at play, like the day that Moore got dropped off. And like
Yeah.
he's like, well, and I knew you didn't want to marry. He's like, don't worry, I wouldn't have like she's like, I wouldn't have like touched you, but like I knew you wanted to get out of the marriage. That's like why I let you out of it, basically. Like he
Yeah.
was doing it because he knew that she didn't want to marry him.
Because if he picked her up, if he like helped her, if he touched her, he would have been claiming her.
Right.
Like, I
Is that
just like
true?
he's like, Moore, you're not telling the full truth. That's another reason Moore's villain arc. Moore, what are you hiding?
I mean, what do you mean?
He's like, you're not telling the full story. He essentially drops heavy hints that he's like something else was happening that day and Moore knows about it.
Oh, really? You think he's
That
dropping hints that Moore
Moore
knew?
knows that there's more to the story
Oh.
that she's not sharing.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I wasn't getting that more. I thought he was just dropping hints that
No,
like
he's
there's more
like,
to the
Moore, you're not
story.
telling the truth. Well, because he's like, you're like, even though your power is truth, like you're lying.
Oh. Okay, I missed that. I believe you.
I don't know. All I know of my notice that is just that Eris is sad girl Autumn Reese, basically.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Feyre's also shocked that Eris wants his dad dead and wants to like overturn.
So that's what his whole like stated reason for being here. He's like, if you
Yeah.
guys, I'll help you guys if you like make sure that I'm the one who gets to claim the Autumn Throne.
Yeah.
You help me kill my dad.
And Feyre's like, oh my God, I can't believe he wants his dad dead. And I was like, first of all, Feyre, you of all people should understand what it's like to have shitty relationships with parents.
Yeah, but
Second of all,
yeah, but her response is like keeping them alive, not letting them be dead, you know.
like, you know how much his dad sucks. I don't
That's
know.
true. Yeah, no, I know. It's yeah. Well, the end of the day is he just risk averse.
He's just smart. He's Reese, but nobody will let him. He's Ginger Reese. Pumpkin
Reese
spice
like
Reese.
12 brothers. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like, yeah, cozy pumpkin spice Reese.
Eris watches Crossword Mysteries starring Lacey.
Yes. I'm surprised. Like, yeah, I'm surprised she didn't go with like Reese could have been Autumn Court from the get-go, you know what I mean? Like, I guess Night Court is like dark and evil, but like it's impressive that she like decided to make Night Court be like the comfy, nice one or whatever. It's not the aesthetic.
Well, it's like subversive or whatever.
I guess. Wicked Lovely. That's what that book is called. Sorry, I always forget what Wicked Lovely is called and then remember, but do you remember
the Summer King one?
What was the setup? How was the mom involved?
The
Was his
mom?
dad dead? How was the mom
No.
the one who put the curse or
Oh,
whatever?
you mean the Summer King's mom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The
so
Winter
this
Queen.
the Winter Queen, yeah, she put the curse on him. She cursed his like dad and then killed his
Mm-hmm.
dad, and then he
Mm-hmm.
became the Summer King, and he was also
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
cursed.
Mm-hmm. Yikes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But like it
I
was
thought
acknowledged. Everyone was on board that she was evil. Okay. I just didn't remember if it was like
yes.
it comes out.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm doing this for your own good to make sure you're like responsible enough to be king.
No. I thought you were talking about the girl's mom because she's also involved.
She's dead. You mean
Yes,
grandma?
she died in childbirth. She died, but she's involved, and I think it's implied that like this is the reason the girl is ultimately like the Summer Queen because her mom was also one of his girlfriends, but she like turned him down immediately because she could see fairies, and she's like, I'm not interested,
Mm.
and she like ran away and like got pregnant with someone else. But then like
Mm.
if you don't accept him
Mm.
or you don't like become one of his like
Girls, you
harem,
die.
like you die. So she died.
No, yikes. Why didn't she? That's so silly.
But like because she was in the process of like turning into a fairy,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like while she was pregnant, because it takes a year apparently.
Mm.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with? Yeah, I don't know, whatever. Which is so Renesmee coded, but whatever. Like Renaissance coded. Okay. So then they're back, and like Reese is like spouting his like foolproof plan for like why all the shopkeepers definitely won't get murdered by Kier if they refuse him service. And Kier, that's his name, yeah. And
Yeah, wait, what?
I forgot for what Kier. Um and then we get, for some reason, I forget what the transition is, but we get Amren's backstory a little bit.
Oh, it's because basically this whole chapter is just one big apology tour slash confrontation for Reese and Farah. So first, like
Mm,
Reese and Moore have it out, and then Amren finds out that Farah went to the prison, and so they have it out, and then like
and then
Amren
we
is like, I hate the prison. I got out
mm,
by
mm,
binding myself.
into a fae form, because previously I was a messenger, a soldier, assassin, or a wrathful god ruling a young world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's basically she's just like basically I was part of the Sarah J. Maas multiverse and then I got put in prison.
In this, or like I put myself in. No, she didn't put herself in prison the way that the fucking
She got put in prison. Yeah, she
boned
escaped.
Harvard dude. Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't put herself in prison.
Mm-mm.
But Nesta
Okay.
the whole time is like, while she's telling the story, like Nesta's like pressing her for more details. And Farah and the rest of the gang are like, wow, like Amren's never talked about this that much. Like everyone's too afraid of questioning her. And then Nesta's just like, wait, what about this? Like her being the only
Mm-hmm.
one who can like just question Amren like
Mm-hmm.
with no chill. And Amren like game recognizes game. That's all I have to say. Like,
Yeah. Also, this made me realize, I don't know why I wrote this here, but like there really is like so much evidence that Cassian and Nesta are mates in this book. There's even like explicit,
oh
like
yeah,
Farah's like, hey Reese, do you think they're mates? And Reese is like, who's to say? Like, whatever.
they definitely know.
And
Yes.
I remember being like surprised. Like, why was I surprised?
Yeah, I don't know. Cause like there's whole book is just them flirting.
Well, right, but that doesn't mean they're mates, I guess. Like lots of people flirt,
It's Sarah
you
J.
know.
Maas. It has to be mates.
Yeah, except with like Azrael and more or whatever the fuck.
Speaking of like Lucian and Elaine have like bonding time because Lucian's trying to figure out what's wrong with her because at the end of that big like
Mm-hmm.
reckoning chapter, like Elaine puts a damper on the whole vibe by like spouting out some weird ass prophecy and everyone's
Which
like,
they don't
okay.
listen to
They
though.
don't know it's a prophecy. I think she's just like rambling. But so Lucian and her talk, they talk
Mm.
and he like tugs on the bond and Elaine says she feels that he tugged on a rib. And so the fact that it feels like he tugged on a rib and not her heart is the primary evidence that so many people who believe that they're not actually mates use
Mm.
because they think that like the cauldron like forced them to be mates. You know what I mean? But it wasn't actually like fate or the mother or whatever.
But I thought it was always the cauldron. The cauldron's like in charge of
But
everything.
there's also the mother who is like God and the cauldron's like, I don't know, something else. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Okay. Is it supposed to be their heart? That's interesting.
I don't, it's compared to like the way Farah describes it. I think Farah describes it as like not a rib. I don't know. I'm just saying that just that line is everyone's like
Mm.
main, like, no, they're not mates. It's all a trick.
That is, I didn't even think of that. What do you think?
I don't know. I would like Lucian to be in a threesome with Varian and the Phoenix
Mm,
Queen. That's what I would like.
why? Varian?
Jurian.
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 Not
Varian's the guy from the
Varian.
summer court. They
Yeah.
all have the same fucking name. But while Lucian and Elaine are having bonding time, Cassian, this was just like so fucking cute. Cassian is like out in the street because he doesn't want to like startle Elaine. And he's
Mm.
like showing off his wings at the request of like the local children.
Mm.
And it like is just like him surrounded by a bunch of like small little
Mm. Mm.
fairies. Just the cutest fucking thing I've ever read.
I missed that completely. That's really silly.
They're like, show us your wings,
So this is when they decide when does that happen? When does that scene happen?
when Lucian and Elaine are having their like Lucian's trying to figure out what's wrong with her tugging on the bond.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a two
Mm.
sentences where it's like Cassian was waiting outside and
Showing
like the
off to the local
children,
children.
yeah, the children were like, show us your wings, Cassian.
Can you please never? I was gonna ask you the first time, and then you just did it so much worse. I really restrained myself from saying please never do that voice again. Why is that cute? It's so obnoxious. Anyway, they decide to get a healer in to see Elaine to see if there's anything fucking actually wrong with her head. And the old healer lady, who like apparently is the only fairy that Farrah's ever seen that looks old, is like there's nothing wrong with her, like she's fine.
They're like, great.
Maybe this happens before, and this is why he's like, because she's like the mating bond is a bridge between souls, which like is it like what's the truth?
Meanwhile, Farah has flying lessons with
Wait,
Azriel.
I have a question. Yeah, wait.
Yeah.
Does everyone who's mates like Farah and Reese when there was like sending things down the bond? Is that just
No.
because they can both mutually read minds? Or
Yes.
like okay, so not everyone has that.
No.
So they're not
Yeah.
really. So like, what could Farah like long distance communicate like that with anyone who?
No,
Why?
because she can't.
But why?
Like, I think the only reason they can do it is because they're mates, but because they're mates is not the reason they can do it. You know what I mean? Because they're both Daemati or whatever the fuck it is, mind people,
Mm-hmm.
and are also mates, they can communicate like that.
Mm.
But if they weren't mates, they wouldn't be
long
able to
distance.
communicate like that. Yeah.
But why?
Vibes.
Okay.
I
Whatever.
don't know.
Yeah. Okay. We also get the story about the fucking
Oh my
oh
God.
yeah, because Azriel's teaching Farah how to fly.
Yes. And he's giving her an inspirational pump up speech about little wings or whatever. And
Mm.
Sarah's just like, all right, sit right down, everyone. I'm just going to tell you the story of Moses.
Moses. But if it was Miriam, if it was his sister.
Moses with wings. That's what it is.
Right.
Congratulations. We're just going to take a musical break. We're going to listen to the cinematic masterpiece, like the 1990s Prince of Egypt. Deliver us.
Princess.
Yes.
Like literally,
it's
yeah,
Miriam.
It is so fucking bold. It's literally
They
just like
read the
it's
Moses
crossing the
story.
Red Sea. Yeah, it's so bold. Anyway, and
Insane.
and yeah, what I got from this is that Sarah really loves to skewer people. Like that is 100% her shtick. She loves to kill people,
What?
specifically queens. You didn't notice that? Like the Golden Queen, other people.
Who else gets skewered?
Miriam.
Oh.
She's skewered on the queen's throne or whatever when like the small wing bitch rescues her.
She's skewered by like her sword. She's not like they didn't bring her throne all the way out to like the fantasy Red Sea and then drop her on it.
Why would it have to be a throne? What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm saying
I thought you just said her throne.
She's impaled. No,
you said she's skewered on her throne. Well,
I don't know.
Is what you just said.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like whatever it is, like she's impaled basically. But Sarah like sees the word skewered. Anyway,
that is how the Middengard worm also died. He went into that little pit. So, like, can we think of it? Who else gets skewered?
Curiosity killed the worm. Possibly the who's that like evil bat-like guy that Farah kills last book?
The adder.
No,
I think he just splats on the ground.
Fair enough.
He gets like micro skewered into a million pieces.
The Golden Queen.
Those fairies' heads in the first book.
The But that's not quite the same imagery. That's like that's like after death impalement, or like maybe pre-death, but like we don't find them when they're alive. And it's just specific. It's a real specific horrific imagery of like live
The
people
real
being
king.
skewered. Yeah, like is that her? I hope it's not. Anyway, what I also got from this is that the Draken and Miriam were mates before Miriam was immortal, which like
Yes, which is what Nesta and
weird.
Cassian are.
Are they?
Cassian says, I'm 90% positive that Cassian says, I knew you were my mate the first time I met you when you were still human.
Hmm. Oh, and I guess Farah and Reese, obviously. That was stupid of me.
Yeah. It
But
just
like,
doesn't snap into place until.
but what does that even mean? I wonder. Yeah, I wonder if that's almost like prophecy predictive then. Like if that happens, you know the human's gonna get turned immortal. Like, are there any examples? Because that would really suck if like your mate was fucking. Because aren't you like fucking suicidal if your mate dies? Like, do we have any examples of someone who's like living when their mate's dead?
Reese's dad
Are you sure?
when his mom and sister die. Yeah.
And you have two mates. Again, I can't press too hard into this because there's just so many holes. But like, yeah, it just makes sense. Like, can you have more than one mate? Like, what's the practice of like marrying off like the Autumn King's wife and then Autumn High Lord's wife or whatever, and more like they tried to marry her off at like fucking 17, which is like doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But like, what if she had later on like had a mate?
Well, she does, is implied. It's implied that Helion,
Is
the
it?
summer or the
Is
day
it?
court or
Is it
whatever the fuck.
implied that they're mates or just like actually
That's
like each
what
other?
that's what a lot of people think, that
I
they're
think that's
mates.
no, I think that's silly because then they like wouldn't be able to because it's not like get you out of a marriage.
I don't know.
I think it does.
I
It
think it only
should.
gets you out of the wedding. I don't know if you're already married, whether that works.
Why? Yeah, but what about the like weird like you own your mate like in some cultures? Like
I don't know.
it
Yeah.
just doesn't make any sense to like marry anyone off before they've like gotten the mating bond.
But it's so rare, Rachel.
Yeah, and then there's also like tons of talk about like, oh, we'll just marry them off and then like wait for the bond to snap into place. Like surely it will.
Maybe.
I don't know. None of it really make whatever. I can whatever suspend disbelief.
Eh.
Then Farrah and Reese have sex for the first time with Farrah's wings.
But wait. Continue your thought, and then I'll say.
Oh, my only comment on that was that at one point she says, "My climax tore through me with a hoarse cry," and like my brain immediately was like a horse cry with accompanying imagery, like anyway.
My comment was the fact that Farah Reese disappears her clothes. She says, "My clothes vanish."
Right, but
Presumably,
the essence remains.
no. Presumably to the laundry downstairs. But I was like, what about the essence? When
That's what
do
I'm
the
saying. The
clothes
essence
vanish
remains.
and the essence
Yeah.
remains?
Yeah, what's the
And when do
truth?
they just vanish to the laundry?
Yeah, what's the truth? I don't know.
Answer me, Sarah. What happens to their
Yeah.
clothes?
What is the essence of clothes? Like, it's different than the essence of dirt. Like, I don't know. It's so, yeah. Anyway.
I don't. Yeah. Yeah. So Nesta and Farah are going to go to the library to like do some research or whatever. But right before that, Elaine tells Cassian, she's like, your wings were broken in Highburn. And Cassian is like, it'll take more than that to kill me. Yuck, yuck, yuck. And Elaine's like, no, it won't.
I know.
And now,
So-
somehow, if Cassian dies, it will be Elaine's fault. Even if she's
Oh,
in
it's
no
her
way
fault. She
involved,
just knows.
I will blame her.
God.
Like,
Or like when he eventually dies, it will be because his wing snapped or something. Like, I don't know.
yeah.
Or maybe he'll get killed and like brought back to life miraculously.
He's basically already did that because they fucking shredded his wings and then
We brought the wings.
no,
back,
they're
but he wasn't
fine.
dead. Yeah. They're fine for him, not for anyone else. That this happens to all the time. Also,
Yeah, not for all the women.
When Farrah decides to go to the library, she first like sends word to Cassie and Azrael that she can't train with them, which is like brought me back to the fact that like they're low-key ordering servants all day in the background of this whole story. Like that's just like weird to sends word how with who like
Yeah, wait.
just,
So
like,
does
shoot
she
a
do that
Daimati
through the
message into their-
mind?
I really
Yeah, does
doubt
she
it.
shoot a message into their mind?
I doubt it because that would be like going into their mind that she like agonizes about.
Yeah, how does she send them a little letter? Are like the children that wait outside the townhouse like being enlisted as little messenger boys?
Oh, maybe it's like here's a nickel. Go, yeah,
Here you
go
go,
loiter.
scamp.
I don't know. That's fine. I can respect
Go
that.
climb
Yeah,
the 10,000 steps of the
champ.
House of Wind and get Cassian.
Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, true. Okay.
They go to the library.
Yeah, and I shouldn't say they're talking about like Nesta's explaining how she can like sense objects and like calls to like whatever. And I
I
don't
also
know
like
why.
drink.
Yeah, why
Drink.
is Farah? I don't understand why Farah is so confused or like surprised about this, about how this works, because doesn't it literally work the exact same way with her? Like she was doing this shit last book. She was like going into the Weaver's cabin and getting the ring and like practicing at the night court and like all this other shit.
Is it cauldron specific? I guess it
thought it was just
is because
she
she's
was
sensing
made.
yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe
It's
Nessa's just
weird
like
that she's
even more in
so.
tune in it because she's directly with it. Yeah. But
Mhm.
Nessa's like, we didn't know you could read. Like, I'm sorry. We do
Mhm.
get an apology that. She's like,
Mhm.
we really thought you could read. Sorry
Mhm.
about that.
Yeah.
Kind of embarrassing.
We also learned that the cauldron can't shatter the wall because like Nesta took too much from it, which is like boss move.
Excellent. I love, listen, if you don't love Nesta, you're wrong. Just wrong. And then something dramatic happens. And I listen, I appreciate the drama and like the violence of this scene and like the tenseness, but like I'm also mad because we were about to get like a sister bonding moment. We were about to get like some like forgiveness and some healing.
Farah was like, why do you always push people away? And Nesta was
Yeah.
about to answer.
And instead, two twinks show up from Hybern.
Not the fun kind.
Not the fun kind of twinks. They're called the Ravens, which like what?
Which Elaine did say like that morning, 2 ravens are coming.
Yeah, she
like,
said
oh,
two
nice,
Ravens. Oh, well, that's what Farah does figure it out. She's like, oh fuck, like
Elaine's telling the future. Noted. Hopefully I live to use this information.
It's worse that they're called the Ravens. Like, so that's a stupid nickname for them specifically. Like, someone else may be able to pull that off.
They are not birds. They have no birds. No
not
trinkets.
They
no
are just twinks.
Not approved by me. Yeah, and ravens are not twinks. Like, I'm sorry. Ravens are bear energy for sure, if anything. Like, if we're making
frankly,
like,
I feel like everyone from Hybern is a twink because the way the audiobook narrator like does their like accent, because Farah's like they have like a weird accent. And like the audiobook narrator does all of them like, oh, Farah. Like, just like the way she has them talk. I was like, okay, so these two twinks are like, hello, we're gonna take Nesta. And Farah, you're here too. So like we'll take you as well. And Farah is like, let's run down to the monster.
Because keep in mind that the pit of this library, for some reason, they decided to build a library on top of a bottomless pit with an unknown like horror monster.
It was not bottomless, we find out.
By Cassian, Cassian has seen it, but he like escaped. He won't speak about it.
He won't talk about it.
Like, runs away whenever you bring it up.
Yeah. Which, honestly, icon. But they run down and Farah like pushes, she's like, Nesta, like run, I'll distract them or whatever. And we have a moment where Nesta's like, no, I don't want to leave you. But then she does. And she goes, gets help, which is good.
Nesta's also bad at running because she won't.
She's in a dress. And as we all know, dresses.
And like refuses to train. That's
well,
she's like,
yeah, because she has this iconic moment where she's like, they're like, why won't you train? Don't you want to like kill Hybern?
I know.
And she's like, why would I do that when somebody else could do it for me? Yeah. Like when I have you plebs.
This is a moment when you're thinking like, she's like, fuck, I didn't think about the running part.
God damn it.
Who's gonna run for me? Yeah.
But so yeah, Farah leads them down to the monster like kills them, but she has to make a bargain with it. She's like, the monster's like, I just want to talk to someone, like I just want you to send a friend down here just to talk, like not as a sacrifice,
life, not to be eaten, or like don't explicitly say that. It could be like, tell me about life and then be eaten, but they don't put
no, because she specifically asks like as in a meal, and he's like, no.
To tell me about life.
But it's so cute. Like, listen, I know that Mrs. Munster is supposed to be evil, and I know he like really fucks up the Ravens, and then Rhys finishes the job.
Right. It's silly.
No, he like keeps them on the edge of death. Rhys comes in, gets the information, and then the monster like finishes them off.
Surprisingly, doesn't kill Rhys at all. Yeah, like, so how evil is it really? But yeah.
And I'm like, it's so cute. Like, I love this monster.
Little guy, yeah.
He's like the bone carver. He's just a little guy. Well, he's just a little dude who can kill people. Like, he's just a little guy. But yeah, when Rhys goes in to finish the job, he gets in their minds, like whatever. And then he comes back and he has blood all over his hands. But he's like the monster, like he's like allegedly all he does is look into their minds, and the monster is the one that like finishes them off. But because he comes out with blood in his hands, I'm imagining him and the monster like doing a tag team, like they each take a punch, like whatever.
I'm just wondering like why the monster would back off. Also, like technically it didn't fulfill its bargain for Farah, because he's like, "Would you like me to kill them?" And she's like, "Yes."
He does. They do.
Well, Reese does.
Well, because Reese shows up, walks in, and is like, "Hold on, bro."
A bargain's a bargain.
And then he kills them. He does kill them. He just doesn't slow. He didn't say how fast. No, the monster does. No, Reese goes in, looks into their mind, and then he specifically like the monster finishes them off.
I thought he was like, I didn't have the self-control to like hold on to it, to keep them alive, so ask them questions like I should have. I don't know.
No, he looks into their mind, definitely.
Yeah. So that night,
oh my God,
another not even
the story
like,
of Moses,
allegory, just directly lifted from
just
like,
the
speaking of
plagues of Egypt.
Amryn goes hunting for like more Hybern spies because the ravens implied that they were like all throughout the city, and like this was just like the tip of the iceberg. So Amryn goes hunting, and then the people of the city leave lamb's blood on their door to get Amryn to skip it, which is like, yeah, not even like a biblical. It's like straight
Sarah,
up just,
like did you just like come right home from shul or from temple and just like write these scenes? You were like so inspired. Like what? Sarah, that's so unsubtle.
Speaking of the plagues, though.
Speaking of,
I'm sure we've talked about this before, but like, locusts, like, what a locust is? Or do you know what a locust is? What's a locust, Allison?
They're like grasshoppers.
Right. But like specifically, like, they're not like a species of grasshopper. No, they're a grasshopper. Like, I think almost any grasshopper can become this. A grasshopper that has gone into a quote, what is it called? Wait, let me, for dramatic effects. They're a grasshopper that has gone into a gregarious behavioral state as opposed to a solitary state. So a solitary state grasshopper is like the grasshoppers that you see. They're just hanging out. As the name implies, they are solitary. They're on their own. However, when enough of them get in one place, which commonly happens during droughts, they go into their gregarious state where they get bigger wings, louder, and they fly around in mobs, descending on, as just like the plagues, descending on like any patch of green and immediately devouring it in seconds, and then flitting off to the next place.
So basically, locusts are grasshoppers who've unionized,
right? Or just like decided to make. Because I always thought that like they kind of caused famines, but it seems like they're
just a symptom.
They're a symptom, but then they make it worse. They're like
they're a symptom of drought.
You're gonna give us a which is famine, which like causes famine. Right?
Sure.
Like, so like, yeah, they're like, you want famine? We can give you famine.
Let me fuck you up.
That's for sure.
Wait, they don't necessarily make the drought be worse.
Well, they make the famine be worse.
Yes, but they don't care about the humans. They're like, the famine is not worse for us because now we are eating.
They're not giving them. Yeah, right. They're not giving them. They're like, no famine for us. Right?
Well, that's because everyone else isn't part of the union, Rachel. Maybe if you joined the grasshopper union.
See, that doesn't quite make sense. But listen. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of plagues, are locusts just angry grasshoppers? Is a locust a cicada? No, it's not.
Yes. The answer is yes. And then they get
hungry caterpillar. And
hungry grasshopper. they get back and they figure out that Elaine is telling the future. Also, at this point, I was like, the cauldron is my number one enemy, specifically because it gave Elaine a gift, but Nesta had to take something from it. I was like, why didn't my girl Nesta? Why wasn't she freely given superpowers? Like, I
just love Elaine so much. I'm giving her gifts, right? Like,
she's so nice. Why?
Who went first, Nesta or Elaine? It must have been Elaine, right?
Elaine.
Elaine's lucky that she went first, because Hodger would have been pissed. Do you think that still would have happened, or like somehow would have like skipped Elaine? Honestly, I'm not even sure. Like, I bet if we went back, like somehow Elaine did go second, and they're like, well, Elaine's so wonderful and clever. I wish she was my sister. Thank you, Sister Caroline. She's so wonderful and clever. I wish she was my sister.
Where's that from again?
Are you kidding?
No, I'm literally like, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Lizzie Bennet Diaries.
Oh, yeah.
Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah. Yes.
Which unfortunately, the last time I tried to watch that, it didn't really hold up. Like I tried to make someone else watch it.
No.
Maybe it probably hold up for us. I bet if we watched it together, it would hold up.
I
but,
don't
like,
know.
I
It's very
it's not the kind of thing that can be like newly introduced. Yeah.
it's very much of its time.
Yeah.
Like you really needed to watch it when it was coming out because outside of that,
rush.
in like the mustache era, the mustache hipster era, like
Mhm.
that's when you
It's
needed
like
to watch
people
Lizzie
are
Bennet
claiming
Diaries.
to be nostalgic. Or not even nostalgic. The kids who weren't alive for it are like,
Oh my gosh, the youths are
which it was great,
like
man. It was great. They're not wrong.
no, I've seen the youths like romanticizing like 2014 Tumblr. I'm like, what is going on?
No, it
I'm like, am
yeah.
I old enough now to be like
That is still how I aspire to dress. Yeah.
it's just like, excuse me?
1989 is still my favorite fashion era.
Yeah.
The era fashion wise, yeah.
Interesting. Bold of you.
Listen, there's something about I still
Yes.
aspire to
Okay.
find a flattering high-waisted short. It's eluded me, but anyway.
We get a surprise Phoenix Swan Princess, as we've been talking
And
about.
Lucian's gonna
Vasa.
because they realize that Elaine's one of the things she's been talking about is like the fire queen, the fire bird, like the fire lake evil man. And she's like, oh yeah, I actually have lots of details on that. Just I didn't tell you because no one asked, but I absolutely still. And Lucian's like, all right, peace. I'm off to.
And he has
her.
his eye can see special things. So that's why he's like good at hunting. It's not like his fancy eye can see special things because they're like, how are you going to find it? Like if it's hidden, he's like, my fancy eye can see special things.
Thanks to his tinker friend.
Why is this second world high fantasy book in first person? Because I want to see Lucian's journey. I want that to be a POV. We're never going to get that. Like I want that to be a POV. I just feel like this series suffered so much from being just from person. Like the first book worked.
Worked what?
I don't know. The first book, I needed to be first person because otherwise you can't keep the secret. But I just feel like, and like the second book was fine too.
You could, like, I feel like it's possible to be a good writer, not,
Yeah.
The second book was what?
The second book also works as second person, like first person or whatever. I just feel like by the time we get to the third book, the world has expanded and the characters have expanded so much that like.
I don't know. I don't mind, especially like no offense to Sarah, but like it's really not a Sarah specific thing. Like she's not particularly bad at it. It's just like whenever there's multiple POV, I do get sick of it. Like I'm just like, give me like the you get most
because you always have like that one POV that like that you hate
forward to, and then eventually or that and then all you want to do is just like tiring. And eventually it just like ends up being way too much of the other ones mixed in. It's like it's fine. I don't really care. Evolutions. It's going to be just like a typical quest type thing. Like we've had enough of that.
I don't know. I feel like he got him to some hijinks.
Sure, but like, no.
Whatever.
So then Hybern attacks Summer, which like does still currently have like the blood rubies, like a price on their head. Like they still are mad DM.
Except
that Amran gets warning from her lover Varian.
And because she wears the blood rubies as like a necklace.
Yeah, because
she's like this is great.
They're like, maybe they'll recall them if we help, like, because we're helping. And they're like, well, you better not try to get them back from Amran. Like
she's not giving them back.
Which, like, yeah, honestly, jewelry is a store of value. Why not?
Yeah. But honestly, like, what a convenient way to, like, get rid of the whole red that blood ruby dilemma. It
really wasn't that much. Yeah, I feel like it was not that serious to begin with. Like, yeah. What are you going to do, Tarquin? What are you going to do in the same, like, bar?
It's not like the summer, they never like get like, it's not like summer court people ever come after, they're ever like traveling and then like have to avoid summer court. It's never really relevant.
Well, I better not see you.
They're just sad. It's just Reese being sad that he doesn't have a friend.
He's not liked, yeah.
That nobody wants to be his friend, even though he specifically has curated his entire life so that no one wants to be his friend.
And so this is Farrah's first like actual war battle or whatever, and her and Moore like go in there to like kick butt and take names. And like at one point, Farrah like turns on her like shapeshifting night vision.
Excellent.
And she's like casually drops. She's like, I think Moore was born being able to see in the darkness.
Yeah.
Which like, okay, convenient.
The court of nightmare.
Maybe that's what her gift is truth means. Was born underground. She has the training. If they bother to give it to her, but yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Also, we get the description that the waters of the bay are red. And I'm like, that is so much fucking blood. Holy shit. Like for the whole thing. And while they're fighting, Farrah is also like, I realized my friends didn't enjoy this. like the fighting. And I was like,
Mhm.
you just realized that? I thought that was the whole ethos of like your guys' relationship was that you don't like violence and you're trying to like
Mhm.
stop war. Like, what do you
Avoid
mean?
it. Yeah.
Did you think that they liked it beforehand? Because if so, I'm really worried about your judgment.
Right.
If
Like,
you
why do
were
you want to
like,
be friends with them?
I
Right.
just,
And
yeah.
then, yeah, also like she says that she's like, we doubled back to make sure that any survivors stopped surviving. I just always really felt like that was really rude and unfair when people do that. It's like, come on, they survived.
Let
That should
him
be a
be.
boon. Yeah,
Let
like
them be.
they're out of capacity. They might decide this is enough for them.
One thing that Sarah has not done in a book yet is add nuance to the grunts, to like the general
Oh
armies.
yeah, for sure.
Like the villains, like one or two villains can have some nuance or whatever and like come to the good side, like whatever. But like as a whole, the armies as a whole are always just they're 100% evil. Like
Hmm.
if you're fighting for the bad guy, like you're 100% evil,
You
there's
are
no nuance
actually
there.
evil, yeah. So then we get Reese continuing to intentionally walk into traps. He's like trying to sniff out the King of Highbridge. Unclear how he sniffed him out because he's not actually there. And has this like whole conversation that realizes it's a fucking like apparition. And the King of Highbridge is like
Hologram.
really mad at Farah for like he's like, she's savage, Dagon and Branna, my niece and nephew, for what? For no reason. Which if you remember, they're the like Cersei and Jamie Lannister coded twins from the
The
beginning.
incest twins. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, what do you like? Isn't it obvious? Like, it's because they tried to kill her. Like, what? Also, like, they're on your side. Like, I don't
They're the
understand why
baddies.
he like
Like
has the
what?
nerve to be like, but her to be like, indignant about this. It's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he wouldn't have killed her. I guess you don't have to kill the leaders.
This whole interaction though, we see because Fair is looking into Reese's mind. And I was
Mhm.
honestly like, honestly, Sarah, like what a good way to get around this like first person POV limitation you've written
Yeah,
yourself
that's
into.
true. Have a character be able to read minds, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if she could do that with Lucian, and if she wasn't so like, maybe she like made
Well,
it a
she
moral
can't do it
dilemma
from a
though that
distance.
like, well, I feel like she probably could if Sarah wanted to do, she could. I'm just saying like that like weird that like ostensible moral dilemma is a good way to like make it so that she doesn't have to write the perspective. She doesn't feel like it. She can just be like, oh, it's not
Yeah.
like be so mean like that
It
TikTok.
just wasn't
It's so
relevant to his journey.
mean.
Everyone's actually roller skating everywhere, but it wasn't relevant to his journey, so she never mentioned it.
And why not?
Yeah. So the battle's over. They go in. Tarquin is still salty, even though they helped save the city. And honestly, I admire his commitment to like remaining, like
Or
even though they just saved his life.
maybe he's salty because he gets a bad British accent halfway through the scene. He's like, what the fuck?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, thank you to the narrator. What's her name again?
Oh fuck.
Leon
It's
Condition,
not
whatever.
Jennifer Akita because she was the first one.
Mm,
Amanda Lee Cobb. Amanda Lee Cobb doing a bad British
mm.
accent. She does it for Highburn too. That's why they're all twinks.
Very silly.
Okay, so now they're done, and they're like, it's time to be all the High Lords together, to get them all together,
I'm like, they're
together.
like, finally, it's time to reveal our good side.
But Feyre's the only one who says that. Feyre's like, listen, stay with me here. I think it's time for you guys to stop pretending that you're evil, like at this meeting where we want people to
Really
ally with
pointless
us.
and really silly.
And they're like, I don't know.
It
And
makes
she's
you look
like, no,
bad, literally. Yeah.
hear me out. We've had a lot of problems because of this whole thing you guys are doing. And they're like, oh, I guess.
Oh wait, no, we skipped. Sorry. Back up. After the battle.
Yes.
Oh, that's when they're having the let's reveal a good side conversation. And wait, sorry, you were still getting to the blowjob? This is
Yes, I was.
All right, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead. They're like, let's reveal a
Okay.
good side.
Right.
Yeah.
But right before the blowjob, they're discussing Miriam and Draken, and they're like, we can't find them. And he's like, how do you vanish an entire people? As if like that's not Valaris. Like that wasn't that was Valaris for like 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't know about it, you weren't gonna know. Like there was no way. Like, what do you mean?
Right. On this subset. Anyway. Well, and then he's like, let's reveal our good side, but like we should still keep your power, hiding your power, except what you got from me, because my high lady, like as my high lady, you'll have been expected to receive some of my power, which like I thought she was the first ever high lady. Like, how do they already have expectations? It doesn't make sense. Okay, so then
Yes. Then we get the infamous scene. Would you like to do the honors, Rachel?
they're having sex and Ferris giving him a blowjob, which quote drowns out the screams of the dying.
His growls of pleasure filled the tent, drowning out the distant cries of the injured and dying. Ma'am! Ma'am!
Can you imagine?
Sarah, what
And
the
she
fuck?
has healing power. Like she could be going around helping. Like she could be like saving life, probably, presumably. I don't know. She doesn't get so tired that she like falls off
No,
the bucket. I guess she
because
does help.
she can't show her powers. That she has healing powers.
Even to the on the battlefield? How would they know?
I don't know, Rachel. She does help. She does. She does eventually
She could,
like
probably
pass
go in and
out.
like wipe, or her or Reese could like go in and like wipe their memory. Anyway.
Anyway.
We get Nesta asking the right questions when they come back. She's like, "You went off to battle without a second thought. Like, why?" And like, yeah, that was right. That was the right question, girl. Like,
You're right. You're right.
There is the Gryffindor, Nesta the Slytherin, Elena's a squib.
And then the second most important question is, where is he? As in, where is Cassian? Nesta's like, we're not in a relationship, but he's still my man. And then Farah, it's just, she has to stick her nose into the whole Moore, Cassian, Asriel love triangle thing. And she's like, oh, like Moore doesn't like Nesta because that like if she gets with Cassian, like Cassian will be a buffer between her and Asriel. Like,
so well,
and I'm like, we're not addressing the real problem. The real problem is Asriel.
Like, right. I mean, also the weird, like, yeah.
Also more for not formally rejecting him ever.
Right, except Reese like implies that like he's like, if they haven't admitted their feelings for each other by now, they're never going to, implying that like Moore does have feelings for Asriel. Like, I don't know, really unclear. And I don't know what's supposed to be going on there. It's very odd and not at all copacetic. Zero copa. Zero coping going on here. Then like Farah has nightmares, obviously, and there's there's some cute, like along with the like hairpin thing. It's like, Reese patiently listen to me murmur my fears until they were nothing but shadows. Just like the opposite of tampon.
He gave me the courtesy, at least, of giving me the choice of what he consumed first, me or the food. I chose wisely. And I was like, Sarah, that's a good line. Well done.
I don't know what she chose though, still. So.
I don't know what she chose either. I think the implication is,
it doesn't convey a lot of information, but
I think the implication, listen, from context clues, I think that it's supposed to be that she chose sex, but me choosing wisely would be food.
Yeah, wisely appear. Yeah, you're not gonna pass
or porque no los dos, a great sandwich and an orgasm. Like, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like glowworms in the jewel vault or whatever, which is really cute. She gets the tiara.
Like, tiara, yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, it's so heavy. It keeps falling off. And I was like, well, you chose it. You could have picked a different one.
Try it on, to be fair.
Okay, but she could just go back to the vault and pick a different.
Well, not if she's already on her way.
Anyway, Nesta's coming with them. They're going to the High Lords meeting, and Nesta's coming with them, but she doesn't need jewelry because she's so hot. It would, quote, be like putting jewelry on a lion.
Okay.
That iconic. Random. I don't know.
That flattering, but like, okay.
I choose to interpret it as a cop. All things, most of the time, if something's made to insult Nesta, I'm like, actually, that's awesome. And that's one of my favorite things about her.
That what makes her stronger. Much like
yeah.
whatever the fucking sort of Griffin. Yeah, anyway.
She's a double-edged sword.
Okay. So Nesta decides, because Nesta decides to come to the meeting because she's like, I don't want to be known as a coward or whatever. Like, after you said you like went off to battle, like I'll come and like tell them about like what happened to me in the cauldron.
Yeah. And Cassian gives Nesta a feral grin. So I thought that was important to know.
Feral grin.
Oh, I do have a note. It really doesn't have to do with the book, but I just want to put out a general thought in like overall that I think the Catskill may need to be affected by the fact that while I was trying to listen and take notes the whole time, I kept having to like keep Peter and Addie separate and keep like separating them and like putting myself in between these cats who hate each other. And I just feel like that's like a detriment to the Catskill.
Why?
Because they were preventing me from reading this book and taking notes on it. Okay. High Lords meeting.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, it's at the Dawn Court, and the Dawn Court High Lord is gay. And so we get a confirmation of gay mating bonds because he says his boyfriend's his mate.
Yeah. That's true.
I didn't think
Wait,
that was the thing.
I don't think they're talking about the High Lord. They're talking about the his general or whatever. But
Yes,
still.
who's the boyfriend of the High Lord? Of the High Lord of Dawn.
Oh.
They're boyfriends. And they're mates.
Oh, I thought they were talking about the general and his boyfriend.
No.
Okay. But who is not the High. Okay, whatever. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
No, it is confirmed, yeah. And the way she throws it in is so like, I don't know, it's very like contrived, but whatever. Nice.
She heard all the criticism about the fact that she is like all her characters straight, and she was like, "You thought actually."
Yeah, and like earlier in this same book, like when Reese is explaining that like you can reject the mating bond ostensibly, he's like, I think it's like procreation based, so it doesn't. She's still like
Yeah, no, it doesn't make
onto that. So
sense.
I don't know what the truth is, but anyway, Moore's friend Vivian is there, who's like the wife /
Reunite
someone,
and she's like, she's the wife of the High Lord of Winter, and she's like, "Why can't I be a High Lady?"
Winter, I like.
And he's like,
fuck.
fuck.
Getting people to ask their real questions. Yeah. Like still again unclear what that means, but nice title, I guess.
Doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It means that they get to talk back, because all the time when Farah like says something sassy or like contradicts a High Lord or like talks back, like they're always like, control your mate, Rysand. And he's like, she's the High Lady. She can say whatever she wants. And they're like, oh no, she's the High Lady. She's allowed to be sassy to us.
Right.
So like that seems to be the only
like,
material
puts
benefit.
her on the same level as like the other. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But I guess it's coming from this weird, like, the status quo otherwise. It's just like so weird and like,
yeah, because she doesn't actually
medieval contrived. So
we don't get any.
The benefits seem like a common courtesy. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that some weird hierarchy thing? Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, they're all hanging out. Everyone's there except for Tampon. And then Tampon walks in. He makes a dramatic entrance. And honestly,
he like jumps in from the second story window or something. Honestly,
he is a dick, but I really do admire.
You have to admit, he's got style.
He's got style. And then he pulls out all these really mean lines. He's like, when you fuck her, have you ever noticed that little noise she makes right before she climaxes? And then like he's like saying more stuff, and at one point Azra was like, be careful how you speak about my High Lady. Like I was like, okay, Az, that was good. But like the High Lords in the background are just like, they're like popping popcorn, and they're just like watching this like lovers speak until finally Helian's like, you're beginning to be tedious, like let the grown-ups talk, like we're done. But like how many times, a question for you, Rachel, how many times do you think Tamlin practiced these lines in the mirror before he came?
Probably 0, because he's not that type of like, he's not.
No, I think that he received the invitation to the High Lords meeting and then immediately started writing down singers.
He didn't have anyone to practice with. Yeah, it's really sad.
That's why he was doing in the mirror.
Sad and tragic.
No, he has like that one servant left.
Yeah.
And then Tamlin continues to be sassy, and Rhys like shuts him up with magic, like sucks out. Like,
there's a lot of like really the Night Court is the problem here. Like they're the ones like inciting violence at every turn.
Right. Even though they all made an agreement. Yeah, that's the thing. They all made a bargain for no violence.
But they like get around it by doing like weird shit and like the shadows or something.
But they still do violence. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like Farah tries to drown the Autumn King at one point because he's being a dick.
Well, that's how everyone finds out that she has her powers, so she can keep her cool. She can be fucking chill.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm really confused how Moore has this like best friend with the other High Lord's wife, but like they still keep up the ruse that they're evil. Like I get that it's from like the previous war. I just don't understand how they like kept up that ruse in the whole previous war.
Well, I don't think Moore is necessarily supposed to be evil.
But she just like hangs out with Reese and does evil things.
Yeah, because he's her family. You know.
Maybe.
I don't think Cassian and Azriel
are known
have a reputation for being evil. Especially, I just feel like no way Cassian keeps up that facade. Like he's like bad at, he has like scary dog privileges, but like,
because like,
I just feel like there's no way.
Because Farrah's like wary of them originally, so I don't know what the truth is.
Well, Faerie doesn't know shit.
That's true.
Faerie's been in that world for like 6 months.
Mm.
She doesn't know anything. Well, that's what I'm saying. They have scary dog privileges. So if you like just see them from a distance, you're like, oh no, they're big, bad, and evil. But like, I think anyone they actually like have a relationship with knows the truth about them. It's just like Rysand, that is.
Mm. But they're like, why do you hang out with this guy? I guess because in their court, it's not really like an option as much. So
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Also, so Helion is the fucking day court guy, right? And Sarah's
Yeah.
like, he's the sun personified or whatever. She's like, I wonder what his beast form is. She wonders what his beast form is. So what's the truth? Like, do all the High Lords have beast forms? Like, is that Tamlin's? What is Tamlin's special power if not beast form? What's the
I
truth? You get to choose. Like, what's the? I'm confused because Farrah got to choose, and like it's shapeshifting, and that's supposed to be Tamlin's power. But like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's what I was saying like before, like Rhys has a beast form. I brought this
Right.
up at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe
Or
like
like, is it wings?
Tamlin can go full beast,
And they can
whereas
shapeshift
the
into
other ones are
other.
just like Tamlin are just like talons and like horns or whatever, like
Yeah.
they're like the spirit Halloween version of what Tamlin can do. I don't know.
Well, except that Rhys is more powerful than the other High Lords, quote, as different from them as Fae were to humans, which, like, why? Who's to say?
The real question is then why can Rhys and Feyre reproduce if they're different species?
It's so true. Like, it jumps up. Yeah, it's like 2 levels.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then, okay, so then the Dawncourt dude brings out his, like, master tinker, who's, like, found, like, a cure for Faebane, which is really convenient. But, like, is
Who
Faebane
made
a
Lucian's
new...
eye? She made Lucian's
Yeah,
eye.
it's his friend, his tinker friend. But, like, is Faebane a new invention? Like, a new / recent? Because you would think that... I don't know. Like,
I
have
don't
they...
think so. I think it was just super rare. They had
The
never
Hybern has like mass
Hybern
produced
has
like
found a way to mass produce it and
okay.
like turn it into a weapon, whereas before it like I guess wasn't
Mm-hmm.
that pressing.
Mm-hmm.
So she comes up with like a way to neutralize it. And like Baron, the Autumn Court King, has a whole like very racist, like where do
Yeah,
you come from?
weird, racist, anti, yeah.
Which was just like, I don't know, it just felt like very out of place. I don't know. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we've already
Fascist
like the
feeling.
fairies are already racist. Like we already
Like
know
we get it.
this.
Like they suck.
Like why are we
Yeah.
getting like if you're from a different country
Because it's like
racism too? You
there's
know what
not
I
even like
mean?
species race, not even like fairy versus high fae. It's like yeah, everyone. It's so silly.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. It just felt very like, okay.
Around this point, yeah, like okay, we get it. Farah starts to get a headache that begins to pound at her right temple, which like why is she never suspicious of the headache still? Like I feel like we get it's like vampires. Like I feel like they don't get headaches unless they're like
Oh, was this to do with the wall? Because she's made?
oh maybe.
Why was
I
she
don't
getting
know,
a
but
headache?
because she's like everyone's arguing or something, and I'm like sick of it. Like
Yeah.
that's the interpretation she gives it. It's just like really bold after like all of her experience, like with the Faebane shit. Like, but yeah. But yeah, they all agree to take the Faebane. Like, well, not all, but like Baron,
The
the Autumn
Faebane cure.
Lord is like still fuck you. Like, I'm not. It's very
Yeah.
risk averse, which is like not the worst. It's just, and he like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then that's when he finds out that Vera has his power and like immediately wants to kill her, which is like really bold to be mad when she did
Yeah.
save them. But I guess it's
Yeah. And then yeah, he storms out and he's like, I'll consider
Mm-hmm.
it. And Nessa's like, you're a baby. Everyone needs to get it
Mm-hmm.
together. And Eris, as he's leaving, it like falls in love with Nesta and she adds another man to her notch, to like her belt. Like she's also got
Mm-hmm.
Helion at this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Like he sees her and he's immediately like, I would like to fuck,
Mm-hmm.
please. Like Nessa's just like collecting them like baseball cards or Polly Pockets.
Yeah. Also, like, well, yeah, Baron's like, why would I care about like the human chattel? Like, why would I want to save them? But like, I'm just really confused about the like elite. Like, didn't Baron fight on the human side?
Yes.
I don't know. Just like
It
why?
was probably because he was like
Or like other
it's
reasons.
probably the same reason he fights now because he realizes like it's not that I want for the humans, it's that like I'm gonna be fucked if I don't have ally, you know what I mean? Like I
Like
have to go
people
with the people.
surrounding me or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'd rather give up humans. Yeah, because Dessa's trying to get them to like help the evacuation or whatever. Or, like I don't
Yeah.
know. they're like, whose lands are we going to use? And Tamlin's like, well, I guess it'll be the Supreme Court because it's the closest and it's empty because
They burned all my villages down.
and
Which
everyone
I was like,
left
oh
me.
no. And Farrah's like, sorry about that.
That was
Not my intention. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, so Tampon leaves as well, and then the rest of them like stay the night or whatever.
for the night, yeah.
Retire for the night. Helion is like more Cassie and Azrael whenever we can have a foursome. We also get that like he and the Lady of Autumn had a thing, and so he's probably Lucian's dad.
Right.
Which would make Lucian the heir to the summer to the day court.
How does that work? Because like does the whole like bastard thing not exist in this universe?
No.
So even so like if so any kid you have can be the heir.
Presumably.
I just feel like was there not like a
What?
Maybe I'm misremembering. Did Farrah not ask Rhys if he like has any other kids or something?
No. That's Devil in Winter.
Okay.
Right, you're thinking of a different
Okay.
Well, because it's also really hard for faeries to conceive, is what I'm saying. Like, and it's harder if they're not mates.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cassian is out here rubbing Moore's feet. Unclear why.
Right in front of right in front of my salad. What is going on?
Oh, my witch salad.
Gross.
Yeah.
Nesta comes in and she's like, something's wrong. And she's the only one who can see it. And Farrah is gaslighting her. They all just gaslight her, being like, you're crazy, shut up. She's like, something's wrong. Like, ma'am.
Wait, sorry, can we back up for 1 second? I'm just speaking of Helion and the Lady of Autumn, like Helion's basically like, yeah, it was like on and off for like several decades or years or whatever. And it stopped when like he found out, and Vera's like, what did he do? And he's like, well, she used to be like really lively and happy before. And, we saw her now. She's really like, closed up and not happy. Vera's like, oh my God, like, why didn't you help her? And there was kind of like a perfect opportunity here for them to be like, it was because like to protect Lucian, basically to back off and like let Lucian not be killed for being like the product of this. And like it could have even been like she asked me to, like, because she was like, I want to keep like our son alive or whatever. But instead it's like implied, like, because then Farrah like tells Rhys no one's thought of this apparently until Farrah right now, and Rhys is surprised and he's like, does Helion know? And Rhys is like, I don't think so. Like, yeah. So, and he's like, they might be his sole heir, which like maybe I guess it's still possible that they're wrong and Helion did know and that is what happened. But otherwise it's like, it makes Helion look like a total dick. Like,
well, it could have still been like he just doesn't want to tell them that the Lady of Autumn asked him not to interfere.
And didn't tell him why. Okay.
Yeah. Like he doesn't, why would he tell these randos his like deep dark secrets?
That just is the kind of thing she usually puts in, like, not so heavy. It's like very not so lightheanded, like heiress, like there's things going on that you didn't know. Like he doesn't even pull any of that. Yeah. He's just like, it's none of my business. I just like didn't want to. I don't give a fuck. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. So Nessa's right. The wall falls down, baby. Which yet again, and the walls came tumbling down, down, down. Josh fought the battle of Jericho.
Jericho. Josh fought the battle of Jericho. And the walls came tumbling down.
I remember that was always so confusing to me because I had a friend, Debbie, whatever, you remember? It doesn't matter, but she lives in a development called Jericho. And I remember always being like, what's the connection? Does it have walls? Kind of. It was very like big McMansion-y houses, and it had,
you should go outside and start playing trumpets.
See what happens. Honestly, that probably would be enough to take down any like McMansion in today's.
That's true.
That's all it would take. I don't know why you would want to, but what are you gonna do with the wall? It's even
just for the shits and giggles.
But like, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
So they come back, and I feel like they've all decided to band together, but there's not really any like plan in place. And they're like, oh no, the wall fell down. And they get back, and they're like, what are we gonna do?
Chit chat. Yeah.
And Elaine is like clear-eyed and better or whatever, but like basically it's just because she's like, we can go. They have to go to see Grayson, her fiance, and like his dad.
Why?
I don't know. It's for some
to protect the humans or something.
Yeah, because he has like a whole fortress or whatever. And you think that she's like all just like recovering from trauma, but it's just because she gets to go see bitch ass fiance Grayson that she's like quote unquote doing better.
She's happy.
Yeah. And then they decide, Vera's like, we're gonna get my new friend, the monster in the library. Reaxis to fight for us. He just wants a window. I love him. Your Honor, I
Why
love
won't they get
him.
a window?
They will. They're going to get him a window.
Ever
But I'm pretty
after.
sure he doesn't get
That movie's cool.
re-imprisoned after this battle.
Nice.
Like, I'm pretty
For
sure, like,
him.
at the end, they're like, yeah, he's still out there.
Good for him. Needing a little snack.
But he
Okay.
tells them, he's like, I
The
don't want.
night court is overpowered. I don't want what?
He's like, I don't want to be out. He's like the bone carver. He's like, no, I like it in here. So, like, I don't know why he doesn't get back. Anyway, he's very cute and I love him. And my last note for this part, this is the end of part 2, listener. My last note is, it's just, I feel like it really ties it all together. The defining feature of Valaris seems to be children laughing in the streets. Like, that is what is just brought up every single time we get a
So
description of this
unusual.
city.
Yeah.
And I want to know what the fuck is so funny.
Please don't do it. Yeah, please don't do
All
voice
the
again.
time. I'm not gonna do the voice again. All the time. Why are these children laughing 24/7? What the fuck is so funny?
It's cool. Yeah.
Cassian just struts down the street. They're like,
Someone is always on jump rope duty.
yeah, I just don't understand. Why are these 24/7? Why do they not go to school? Is there no bedtime? Is there actually just like a children's clown college? And that's
like
why there's just a
playing around like those like fake like owl hooting things to keep you out the way.
Yeah. That's it, part 2.
All right.
Part 3 coming next.
All right, Allison, where can they find us?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at We Read It One Night, on Twitter at We Read It Podcast. You can check out our Etsy shop, Evelyn in Adelaide. You can email us, wereaditonenight@gmail.com, and answer our questions about Central Time and Pacific and Mountain Time, and also suggest any listener suggestions that you would like.
All right. Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.